Real quick, one of the strangest things that I've seen over the past couple days, and this relates to the tragic shooting of the Minnesota state lawmakers, is the extent to which commentators and even politicians seem unwilling to just place the blame where it belongs, not just on obviously the shooter, but on the political culture that's been generated by the far right, and especially Donald Trump, who speaks constantly about how his enemies, his political enemies, deserve violence. It's like a regular feature of his rhetoric. It's a consistent feature of right wing rhetoric. Speaker Mike Johnson just said, a couple days ago that Gavin Newsom should be tarred and feathered, which is like a violent action, not something to be treated lightly. But there's this rhetoric and culture of violence and violent threats in the far right. And in fact, most of the political violence over the last decade has been committed by the far right. And notably, under Trump's first term, we saw any number of shootings that were directly, the shooters themselves are directly echoing language that Trump uses, directly referencing the kind of grievances that Trump has. This is just a thing. It's not biased to say this. It's just simple observation. And yet, making a direct connection between this rhetoric of violence and these violent acts that have been inspired to a right wing shooter who specifically targeted Democrats, and especially those Democrats who were either LGBT or strongly believed in abortion rights. To make that connection seems to be taboo, like verboten, and I find it utterly bewildering and incredibly strange. It reminds me, in fact, and I just watched a documentary about the Oklahoma City bombing. It reminds me of even now the reluctance to tie Oklahoma City directly to far right rhetoric and far right violence, and specifically white supremacist rhetoric and white supremacist violence, as if it's not polite to notice the obvious. I don't know. I find it very strange. It's almost like a collective delusion that if we really pretend that the American far right isn't violent or angling for violence, then it's not. But it is.